My dad is ready to get in the helicopter so he can go back to Washington. Well, Delaware, I meant. Sorry, everyone. After now Trump is finally sworn in office, it's time for Biden to leave. My father, Joe Biden. There goes my auntie.
All right, Mark Meredith out there in front of the east front of the Capitol, and you can hear in Mark's voice what happens when you spend that long out in a wind chill like that. The mouth starts to freeze, the lip starts to get slow. Mark,
there she goes.
There in some very difficult conditions as the vice president boards a limo now. And the president now having some final words with the former president, the outgoing president. They'll travel to Andrews Air Force Base. There's a helicopter out front there. We'll hear that take off soon.
And I am now the former first son of the United States.
Designated Air Force One when the president is on board. I think they'll be using tail number 29,000. That's what they used to bring Jimmy Carter here. That will become known as Special Air Mission 29,000 as he heads off to California.
Yeah, and this is always such an interesting choreography.
He heads off into the sunset.
He does. He will be heading to the sunset. But this is such an intricate choreography that happens with an entire family moving out, an entire new family and administration physically moving into the White House in a matter of hours. That is very carefully scripted, very carefully done. And as you see there, both of these couples have spent time there at different times, and they will always have this in common, the presidency. And yet President Biden is the only one who defeated President Trump. He served in the middle of these two terms, and these families will always be intertwined. As you said there, we will be able to hear from our perch here, not too far from that helicopter when it lifts off. And it is very interesting how that happens here in Washington, often with decoys that lift at the same time so that Marine...
There he goes. He's about to enter the helicopter.
Biden and Trump are sandwiched in history. I don't know how it plays out.
Always linked.
Always linked. I will note that Trump did not attend when Biden was inaugurated. So that's a little different. And I think that Biden goes out fearful, John, as you mentioned the pardons, of, what Trump might do next. Trump says he wants to be a unifier. Let's hope it is.
A unified Reich.
People who were in that ceremony that Trump beat in order to become president for a second time, second time. He beat Kamala Harris, Marco Rubio, Doug Burgum, Mike Pence, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tim Scott. They were all there.
See ya, Dad.
The former president boards Marine One. Now,
gonna miss you.
I guess the only one of the people in the crowd that Trump did not beat was Biden.
Well, you know what? In a way, I think he did. As I told you, the Fox Post said that most people who voted for Trump this time said they really were voting against Biden.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty difficult. I think, Biden's legacy, it's an odd moment to discuss it, but I think it may be a guy who didn't know when to quit.
This is Joe Biden's legacy right now. 4 years of Donald Trump and the dissatisfaction you hear from Democrats as he declares ERA is now law of the land by the stroke of a pen or a tweet, which is something he said he wouldn't do. By these pardons, this is why Joe Biden is unpopular in his own party right now, because this is his legacy.
Well, and something you talked about, Juan, we had two different audiences that we watched on camera here. There was the one in the rotunda with lawmakers from both sides of the aisle, all kinds of officials, and also the folks over at Capital One. One thing that struck me as one of, several things.
As they wave goodbye?
As they wave goodbye to the outgoing president and first lady. But one thing that struck me that both audiences had a quite visceral response to was the talk of it's time to stop weaponizing the DOJ and the using the government against enemies. And listen, Katie, there are a lot of President Trump's critics who said we're going to be watching closely on that front because we think that's exactly what he's going to do.
Well, if you take the last minute, up to the hour, top of noon, of Joe Biden pardoning basically his entire family for behavior that made him personally pretty rich. Okay, so let's start over. It's corrupt. Biden said repeatedly to the American people he would not do it. He did it. So maybe, and then you add the speech from the now President Trump talking about restoring trust in the justice system, saying, I know something about weaponized...
A great 46th president we had.
persecuting.
As he
political
finally
opponents,
tried to
who
make
is
you
not
happy.
to allow
There he goes right now. The helicopter is about to fly.
Impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. This is also something incoming Attorney General, if she's confirmed, Pam Bondi talked about during her confirmation hearing last week. So maybe America can have a clean slate when it comes to the weaponization of the federal government and move forward with Donald Trump, as he says, if we work together, there is nothing that we cannot do.
So why don't we just take a moment here, just pause, because we've got a lot of time to talk about a lot of things, and just watch and listen as Joe Biden takes off for Andrews Air Force Base. The last time
Andrew Air Force Base, a district of the international airport
listen in, because the helicopter's about
where presidents can go fly. Oh, the chopper isn't about to fly. Yup, it's flying. And there goes my dad. My dad's final time riding a helicopter.
They take a loop around the White House before they head for Andrews. We are right across the street from the White House, and we'll listen to see if that helicopter is going to come over us, or if it's going to head straight to Maryland. And one of the special air missions, either 28,000 or 29,000, that will take Biden out to California for a little more rest and relaxation, and leave the Oval Office in the hands of the 47th President of the United States.
There he goes, everyone. And that's the final time seeing my dad on TV as President of the United
And as
States.
we talk about this peaceful transfer of power, President Trump is not going to waste any time. We talked about a number of these executive
Really gonna
orders
miss
that will be
him.
signed today. There are also several
Thank you, Dad,
potential
for
cabinet
everything.
nominees, and people have gone through their confirmations. We think that Senator Marco Rubio